Hey, so I want to show you how you can debug a C++ project on Visual Studio Code, specifically projects that were configured and built using CMake. This is for Linux, but it should work on Windows or Mac as well, because I'm using platform-independent tools. And I've seen other videos about this, but I thought they were kind of confusing and sometimes too general. So yeah. So let's start. I'm gonna open up the terminal, and this is my project folder. Right. I'm gonna open Vscode here, and here it is. So yeah. So this is my code. This is my project. And just to give you a little bit of context, this is a network, neural network wrapper. I load a TensorFlow model and then run it to classify images, to label images using the network prediction. So this is the CMake list file. It's not too complicated. It includes the TensorFlow library, OpenCV package, and it has two targets, two executables. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to compile this. So I'm going to create the build folder and then configure it and build it. Just to make sure it's running properly. So here we have both a classifier test and webcam test. And if I run the classifier, it runs fine and it works, right? So yeah, so now I'm going to show you. So what I want to do here is I want to be able to debug this file. This is the classifier. I want to be able to run this line by line and stop on this breakpoint, say. So basically debugging. The first thing you might want to try to do is use this function here. So it prompts me to create a JSON file. So I click here, and we get an error. And the error is it couldn't find this file, the C API file. So if I come here I'm going to show you the problem. I'm going to go to the definition of this header, and here is the file. If I click on go to definition, it can't find the file. So even though I'm able to configure and compile just fine, Vscode is not able to locate this file. And the reason is VS Code is not aware of the configurations of CMake. And in order to be able to have the right to have debugger functioning, working correctly, we need to give this awareness. And to do that, one thing we can do is install this extension, CMake Tools, which is very useful extension. I had disabled it just to show you the error. It's this icon here is the extension. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the old files I created, and also I'm going to delete the build folder. And if I click on the CMake icon and click on configure all projects, it's gonna basically find all the targets. And also here down below I have some new options, so I can actually build the whole project, or I can select a target that I want to build, and without having to type anything on the terminal. So I'm just going to build this. I'm actually going to build all the targets, and I'm going to close this terminal. Yeah, so it's built just fine. Let's test it. CD build and classifier. So works perfectly. And in order to debug So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to debug the classifier. I come here, I want to debug classifier, so I right click on it and I click on debug. And yeah, so it's debugging just fine. I can click on here and step over the functions. I have all the current variables on this context, the labels and data vectors and stuff. And that's it. That's basically it. This is debugging in Visual Studio Code, C++. Okay, so the next, I just want to show you one more thing, which is actually, I want to show you when I run this line, I'm actually going to get an error, right? So as I showed you, when I run on the terminal here, the program, I don't get an error, but here I got an error, which is, yeah, debug console. Yeah, I got an error here. If I run again, just to show you the error, you can see the error message because it closed. So if I click on run on terminal, I get this error regular file not found, no such file or directory. Basically, this is because, as you can see here, this was the line of the error. I'm trying to load the model, and this is the relative path to the model, but this is relative to the executable file. And when we debug, the debugger will run from, if I come here and I on the CMake and I right click and click run from terminal or debug, this is actually going to debug from the root folder and not the build folder. So how can we change that? Well, one way you could do is we could take off those double dots here and it would run just fine because this is now relative to the root folder, right? But another solution is, and I want to show you how you can debug this with using the launch.json file. So you have much more flexibility and you can change some things, including the debugger target folder, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come here on the browser, and this is the CMake tools website, and this is their target debugging launching page. And if I scroll down here, they give us a launch.json template, which I'm going to copy and come here and create a launch.json and paste it here. So this is the template for debugging, which is another way to debug, right? And basically, when I click on, I'm going to save this. When I click on here on start debugging, it's actually going to run based on these configurations. And I want to change, to fix that problem, I want to change the working directory of the target. Instead of being workspace folder, I want to run it from workspace folder /build, right? And the last thing I want to set is actually I want to launch, instead of launching the webcam, I want to launch this target. So right click it and I set as launch/debug target, right? So when I click on play, this is actually going to debug the classifier, which is correct. And if I come here and I go to that line that was giving me an error, I'm actually able to step over it. And just to show you that it fixed the problem, I'm gonna run it without any breakpoints. And yeah, so it runs just fine. We get the right result. And if I want to change back to, let's say I want to debug the webcam target, I set this as the launch debug target, and can come here and put let's say a breakpoint here. Let's say I put a breakpoint here, and now I launch it, and yeah, so we're now debugging the webcam, and I could continue going. And yeah, so now it's working on the webcam. It's a bird. Okay, so that was it, and I hope it helped you, and I see you next time. Goodbye.